Fannie Lou Hamer Professor of Rhetorical Studies Davis Houck is a professor in the College of Communication and Information at Florida State University.
I was in Dr. Houck's class in fall of 2019. I think it was a really interesting class. I learned a lot about race and rhetoric in the United States. It was really exciting because he always was enthusiastic about everything he taught. Really made me excited to learn it. Out of all my classes at Florida State, I can easily say that that was the class I've learned the most in and got the most out of.
Houck teaches a variety of courses at FSU. His true passion, however, is buried deep in the Mississippi Delta. For many years, Houck has been an expert on the Emmett Till case of 1955.
So Emmett is a 14-year-old boy. He is from Chicago, and he comes to Money, Mississippi to visit his family in August of 1955. And Emmett's kind of the life of the party.
The trip over to the Bryant grocery store was a part of the fun adventure that Emmett and his family, the young boys, were having.
Although certain details remain clouded, it is clearly known that at some point he whistled at the storekeeper, Carolyn Bryant. This act was detrimental in the Deep South, where black men were not to flirt with white women.
3 days later, her husband, Roy Bryant, and his half-brother, J.W. Milam, show up at the house, go room to room, looking for him, eventually find him, take him physically out of the house, and that's the last time his family ever saw him again. Several hours later, they had driven up to a different county, taken him to a seed barn where several men tortured, beat, mutilated, killed him.
Emmett's mother, Mamie Till Bradley, committed the most courageous and stunning act that explains why we continue to remember her son to this day.
She forces the funeral home to open the casket. It's closed, it's sealed, it's not supposed to be open. And she opens the box and there's this horribly disfigured thing. She can't even identify that this is her son. And then she did something that changed the whole case, which, and the reason we're talking about it right now, she allowed the photographers to come in and take pictures.
I lived about 16 miles from the place where he was killed. One of my uncles came to visit us, and he brought a copy of, I believe it was Jet magazine, and the centerfold was Emmett Till. It did not look like a human being. It was Emmett Till in the casket.
The media coverage of Emmett's murder and the trial that followed created a countless array of documents that were published throughout the United States. These documents lacked a permanent home until Davis Houck created the only existing Emmett Till archives at Florida State University.
I did a book with one of my students here at Florida State, Matt Grindy, who was doing a dissertation on the Till case. And I was always interested in, because it is a press story, right? It's a story about how the press covered the case. That's how it got its legs in our country.
Houck's curiosity led him to Mississippi, where he began an accumulation of documents. As his collection grew, he realized Stroger Library's special collections and archives would be the perfect home for Emmett's paper's final resting place.
When I approached Julia Zimmerman, who was then the dean of Stroger Library, she was the one who said, yes, Florida State would totally want to do this. If you can help us do it, let's do it.
There was really no question to me from the beginning of the proposal that it was not only something that was quite feasible, something that FSU and FSU libraries could absolutely participate in and help with.
It was like the grandest of dreams that someone would do, and it would be here in the city where I live.
Houck also incorporates the archives into his classroom by allowing students to digitize delicate documents.
As a teacher, I really love it when students can get in with primary source documents.
We wrote a paper and we scanned different pieces of the newspapers and different pictures, different articles.
For students to be able to compare the white press and the black press, put them side by side, essentially same stories, same day, and come to, ooh, these writers were coming to very, very different conclusions.
And as conclusions are found, Houck is extremely optimistic for the future of these special collections.
Davis has been remarkable inspiration for me in a number of ways. But I think that this is the capstone because it's not just personal me stuff. It's there for everyone and for time, all time.
Our mission in hosting the Emmett Till Archives is not to own Emmett Till's story.
We don't own the story. It's not ours to own. It's ours to help share. And so that's what Florida State's been very good about, is understanding that and then enacting it in all kinds of ways.
Houck and his team will continue sharing Emmett's story by continuing to digitize more and more documents while expanding an archive that represents growth for Florida State University and society as a whole. Houck's team will also expand upon their central theme to tell more untold stories of the historic Mississippi Delta. I'm Emily Peters, reporting.